We are back. Second edition of the All Out Club podcast. All the boys wearing the hat. Fit well, boys? Cordless, yours is quite faded.
It's well faded. Well, this one is the OG of all the hats.
Cap number one.
Cap number one. And it's well faded. So if you want yours, head to alloutclub.com.au and pick it up now.
Yeah. It fits all head sizes. Anyway, boys, look, the last podcast we sort of talked about variety of sports. As always, plenty of sport to talk about.
Mate, there's plenty of stuff in the news, and there's no bigger name in the news of cricket. And surprisingly, after we've won a World Cup, than Mitchell Johnson at the moment, after his outlandish, I would say, comments about David Warner. I don't know how you boys see it, but as a former teammate going at a teammate, they must hate each other, right?
Look, it's hard to not be on Johnson's side because he's just so likable compared to Warner. It's tough. I think Warner definitely deserves to have like a test at home, but does he deserve all this? Like, if he has a couple of bad games, he deserve every single match.
Well, the good thing about the Australian cricket summer and their schedule is that we tend to play these, I wouldn't call them B-tier teams, or maybe we could these days.
B-tier.
Yeah, that help boost Australian cricketers' averages, aka Marnus, aka Warner. But, you know, Warner's averaged 28 since that big 300 against Pakistan. So the comments are pretty viable, don't you reckon?
I think it's a reasonable opinion to have, but it's just a bit like you don't really need to come out with that much aggression. You know, it's
very aggressive.
It's cool when you're bowling 150.
They clearly didn't get along back when they played. There's no way just come out after not really talking for a while and just start roasting him.
Why?
Obviously, he's a man of high morals. He's obviously just since the Sandgate incident.
Sandgate.
Great golf course. Sandpaper Gate. Obviously, that he didn't agree with that. It did anyway.
But Warner scored a double century last summer. Like, I don't really. I'd probably say he's still the second best opening batsman in Australian conditions. So, like,
I think he deserves a spot because who else is...
Exactly. I reckon that's the only thing that's saving Warner at the moment is because who else? You know what I mean? Yeah. So...
But, like, calm down, you know, MJ.
Yeah, come on, MJ. When he was bowling 150 rockets in 2013-14, we were all about it.
Big fan of the top knot.
I did see that, actually.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I don't know if that's...
You're better than that, you know? I don't see that thing. I'm a fucking...
Bit of prediction. Warner's obviously had a very successful ODI campaign. We now move to the test. He'll play all 5 tests, you would presume.
No, doesn't he go out after the third test?
Well,
he played the whole
I thought he played the whole summer as well.
I thought for some reason there was a Sydney test. The people are talking about, maybe I could be wrong, but I heard someone say he'll be out by test 3.
Because the Gabba's last, isn't it? Gabba's last.
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, it's a change of the baton, if one might say.
This isn't even a stud, is it? But Warner said he will say goodbye to Test cricket after the Pakistan Test match.
Yep.
Well,
So
January.
third test in Sydney, New Year's test.
Well, here's a question. Warner gone after the third test this summer. Who takes his spot?
I'd pick Bancroft probably.
Bring him back.
I think Bancroft's form in
Pretty good.
class cricket's been pretty good, yeah.
Well, who's your options? You got Bancroft, Renshaw. We've obviously Marnus name throwing the hat, and then there's a Tasmanian that's been scoring a lot of runs, Caleb Jewell, as a smoky. But
Lovely techers.
I think from the way that they're selecting the Australian A team, you'd think Renshaw would be in there, wouldn't it?
I think they'd pick Bancroft, but I don't know what we're going to do. You need to give Green a run, I reckon. We need to give Green a go.
We're also forgetting about the GOAT, Marcus Harris.
Oh, he's no chance.
Yeah. Look, I'm reading here that Test great and Brisbane cricket great Joey Burns wants Caleb Jewell. So
That's what I'm saying.
I rate Jewell. I rate Caleb
Get him in
Jewell.
He's a smoky.
Caleb Diamond.
Anyway, speaking about what you were saying?
I was just going to say with Cam Green, like, I reckon we've stitched Cam Green up a little bit by batting him at 6 because I don't think it suits his tempo. And what it's been doing is it's been forcing him to bat with the tail a lot more, which is forcing him to change the way he bats.
He's an awful start.
Yeah, he's not. He takes time to get into his innings, and also like when you're pushing the case when you're batting with the tail, you probably drop your average a little bit down, sort of. When you're averaging in the 30s, and it just puts unnecessary pressure on him. I'd like to see him at like 3, 4, or 5, personally.
Well, I don't think he'll get that spot with like the players that he's around at the moment, but maybe as his career progresses. You got to remember he's already 24. Right?
Drop Smudge.
He's,
I was talking to Mackenzie the other day. How many ducks in a row would Smudge need for them to go, mate? You're gonna have to get dropped. Like 15.
Yeah, it'd be double digits. I reckon.
Or did
It'd
they
be
just
double
keep
digits.
going like, mate? Can you like retire because we can't drop you?
If he got a duck for every innings that he plays this coming summer, he'd retire. I reckon.
I think they'd give him like, mate, we need to give you like a rest or something.
Just take a spell back.
Greg Chappell got like 8 ducks in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
And then moved. Anyway, we'll move on. Another cricket thing, and a bit of a local Brisbane problem. And Clance, I know you've written a story about it, mate, and it's a big problem in your eyes.
Yeah, they've cocked up the stadiums for the Olympics, haven't they? I think we can all agree on that. Oh, tables.
As the makeshift table.
So we're meant to be getting a new stadium at the RNA Showgrounds, right?
Go
For
on.
cricket and AFL, which would be cool, but it's only temporary. And cricket have made pretty clear that they don't want to be spending, I think it's like $130 million change or whatever, and
$130 million project.
project for 4 years. It's going to be taken down, and that the government can reap the rewards off, after, with no benefit to either, especially cricket. They're not going to use it ever again, and I think they made it pretty clear that they wanted it to be AB Field, but the government just went ahead with this.
Yeah. So just to make it clear for all the listeners, so the Olympics 2032, cricket and the Lions, they're going to have no stadium to play in. So the government essentially has proposed this plan to put cricket at the RNA Showgrounds for X amount of money. Queensland Cricket have come out and said, hang on, we don't want to spend X amount of money, which is in the tens of millions, to have a temporary stand before we go back to the Gabba and then lose out on X amount of money. So,
but also like the RNA Showgrounds is heritage listed and all that shit.
Yeah.
And now the Lord Mayor's pulled out of the planning for the games and everything. It's a shit show.
Well, yeah.
I'll be there New Year's to watch Rufus.
At RNA Showgrounds.
Yeah, I think it's there. Is it? It's a grey area.
Yeah, that is a grey area. But speaking of cricket, the BBL is back, boys. And as huge fans and advocates of the BBL, I am excited for Thursday night. Not just for the cricket, but for Rocket Man as well, Nuge. You're a big Rocket Man guy.
The worst type of people are Big Bash haters. I hate Big Bash haters. Big Bash every single night. You sit down, watch the Big Bash. It's elite.
Look, my opinion was always 2016 was the peak, obviously. But now you just got to enjoy it as a comedy.
It was a comedy through the COVID years. That's definitely.
Yeah, I think since 2020 was diabolical. The fielding, the low scores. Since then, it's improved.
Last year, the fielding was elite.
Yeah, last year fielding was.
Oh, yeah, fielding was great. I think it's just people are thinking back of those days back in like 2016, Lynn. You still had those test greats like Callis, Sangakkara still playing.
Yeah.
That's just unrealistic nowadays.
Well, speaking about the Heat, our Brisbane Heat definitely have the best social media team out there for sure. There is a stat, actually. Well, it's not a stat. It's a fact that the Brisbane Heat...
It can still be a stat, yeah.
The Brisbane Heat are the most followed social media page in...
the world.
No, not in the world. Not in the world, but in Oceania. In Oceania.
They're the biggest cricket page in Brisbane.
So they're the most followed. They're the most followed social media page in Oceania out of all sporting teams. So like you think about these great sporting teams like the Broncos, the Melbourne Storms, that have all these that has been together for so long, X amount of years. The Heat have the most followers. So
do you reckon that's why they brought their success started when they brought in like a washed post-retirement Freddie Flintoff.
Well, mate, you think about all the players.
He was awful.
Mate, you think about every single player they have. They've had an elite player from New Zealand, an elite player in AB de Villiers from South Africa. They've had Mujib. They've had Badgery. They've had all these X amount of players from all
Benny
these
Duckett.
Benny Duckett. You can't remember about Benny.
Bantam.
BLG, Big Lewis Gregory. Like you can't forget about all these players.
About him.
So they've gone to every country, and
they're also the only team in third biggest city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Sydney have so many teams. Melbourne have a couple of teams.
They're one state team, but they released a thing today on socials about the matchups, and the Glenn Maxwell leaves. Who's left the most leaves at the Gabba? And it just reminded me about that Maxwell thing when he said, "I literally hated the game." That video.
I think he was just a bit siebes that day.
Oh,
I think he just wanted a nice cold shower.
What was that bowler's name?
Duffield.
Duffield?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Feckerty.
No,
Nah,
it
it
was
was
Duffield.
Duffield. He could hoop
Left
Duffield.
armour.
He
Left
could
armour.
actually hoop him.
No,
He could hoop the ball.
Bring back the Heat team with Feckerty, Steckety.
but it also got me thinking because Maxwell was accused of match fixing that day. What is the biggest match fixing scandals in cricket? And obviously, there's one obvious one.
No, I can't think of any in Australia.
Not in our history.
Pakistan?
Pakistan for sure. And I'm glad you brought that up actually because an undercover journalist in 2010, like you should know the story, posed as a bookie, successfully managed to bribe 3 players to help match fix the game. So like the captain, Muhammad Amir, and who else was it? Muhammad Asif.
Salman Butt was the captain.
Yeah, and Muhammad Asif were found guilty of match fixing and sent to prison. I don't know if they're still in prison.
No, they're not. They're not still in prison. Mohamed Amir played another game.
Did they?
Yeah, Mohamed Amir played Australia. Remember he fell over and said he was
Yeah.
injured at the Gabba.
He had a great
Oh,
start to
yeah.
his. I think he got the first. He was the quickest to 100 wickets.
He was
if I'm wrong.
elite early on when he was
He was
18.
very good.
But yeah, that's
Salman Butt was pretty good as well.
Well, there you go. But it also got us thinking, Nuge, and as Mick said, the BBL is a comedy. What is the top 10 funniest BBL moments of all time? And I'll list them off with a few honourable mentions first.
I think there could be like 50.
There could be endless moments, but here's some honourable mentions.
You tell us your favourite moments.
Yeah, you can tell us yours.
Comment down below.
Here's the honourable mentions before we hit the top 10. Andre Fletcher, the no look 6. Freddie Flintoff singing on the mic, of course. The X Factor and the introduction of the Big Bash boost point. Case Ahmed did a backflip after getting a wicket, or was it a front flip?
It was a front flip. I think.
It was a front flip, I think.
Athletic.
And the common meme that AJ Tyre has 44 variations, but hitting the top 10 is Kumar Sangakkara getting dropped from the Big Bash. That was an absolute joke.
From the Hurricanes, did he?
9 was Warren commentating the WBBL, and I'm sure we'll put something
that
up
was
there.
funny. Look, I liked it because
It's factual.
yeah, it was all for bowling. It was full bungers.
Oh, you can't be bowling there.
Straight into the slot.
8 was Greg Davidson giving the player out and then sniffing his nose. That was number 8.
I don't think he sort of went for the.
No, he
and they did
scratched.
the Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, he scratched his nose. He was a scratch. There's only one reason you'd smell your finger like that, and it's you know, it's a bit weird.
Number 7, coming in at number 7, it's Guthrie getting hit for 70, the worst figures of the Big Bash. That's a diabolical
We don't
one.
talk about that.
I was at that game.
Number 6, and
When?
fan favourite. Coming at number 6, a fan favourite of Clancy Nugent. Ben Cutting bowling a front foot no ball in the Super Rugby semi-final.
I was at that game as well. That's got to be the worst execution in big moment.
Cutsy,
I've ever seen.
Cutsy was always put as the death bowler, and I refuse to know why.
We're hitting the top 5 here, and it's Ben Cutting, your man again, splitting his head after catching a ball
And then throwing it away.
Did he even catch it?
He
No,
had it in his
didn't
hands,
catch
and then he pegged it.
I was at that game as well, and you just see like Cutsy, mate, and you see blood coming down.
One of the great moments. At number 4, a bloke running in the stands to catch the ball at Marvel. That's one
Over
of
the back side screen.
over the side
Yeah,
screen.
that was great stuff.
Oh, and he tripped over like the chairs.
And he just missed it. He
He
just
did like the
missed it.
slow-mo run because he was falling
yeah,
through.
he genuinely could have died.
He
there.
could have. He could have. At number 3, an iconic one. Bobby Quiney and the seagull. Boom.
Mate, you didn't even need to talk about the seagull, just Bobby
Bobby
Quiney.
Quiney. Such an iconic moment. At number 2, even more iconic, Chris Gale's "Don't Blush, Baby."
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's funny. That's just robbed us of a great, many more great BBL moments.
I agree. And rounding up the number 1, the piece of resistance. Grab some more people, Marlon.
Yeah.
You want to grab some more people?
Go
Shout
fuck-
out the king.
Go fuck yourself, Marlon.
Poor
Oh,
Marlon.
that's sad, isn't it?
It is
Actually,
sad.
he just got banned from playing international. He's like retired and really old now, but he just got banned from playing international cricket
Why?
for. Oh, look, I can't remember, and I'm not one to put allegations on someone, but
Do you
I
want
maybe
Michael
let's just
to
say drugs.
Google it?
Yeah, Google it.
Meth.
Google it.
Oh,
Google
no.
it.
Not meth.
We can't do
Performance
that.
enhancing or We'll get the facts right.
Yeah.
Fucking
This is
Marlon.
our computer guy right here.
He's been banned for 6 years.
Yeah, but he's already retired.
Over anti-corruption code breach. Well, there you go.
What's that mean? What do I mean?
What does
Anti-corruption
anti-corruption mean?
means he must be against corruption. The BCCI have got involved because they're into corruption. They're not happy about it.
Who knows? We'll move
Well,
on.
yeah, there you go. There's the BBL segment for today. And I can't wait. It's one of the great competitions, and it continues to thrive. What?
It's just good because it's always on.
Agreed. You can just have it on any time. Like, it's
Even
perfect.
if you're watching the Sydney Thunder get bowled out for 17, it's still like funny.
15, I think it was.
15.
Yeah.
Just nicked everything.
Yeah. Anyway,
It was Dan Kinane commentating.
you know,
Yeah,
the
Dan
goat.
Goodbye.
He's got a good little gig going with the BBL now, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Goodbye.
a lot of talent in the kid.
Lot of
Yeah,
talent,
big fan
lot
of
of
Dan
talent.
Kinane. Get Vossi in the BBL.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vossi would love it.
What about
The
blocker?
fan. The blocker. Me think it's
Bet-
amazing.
Best blocker moment. He's commentating the WNRL, and he goes, "Oh, that girl should get man of the match."
Can Blocker stop saying in gold? And Sean O'Sutherland. If Sean O'Sutherland kicks a ball, he'll say, Sean O'Sutherland kicked it in the in gold.
Or he says big before or little. He says big or little before every single play. Big Kamakamika. Big Billy kick out.
Or he calls a bloke a kid who's like 28, like Billy Walters.
Well, speaking about commentators, and we move to the next segment. What is the best commentary lines that you've heard or you know? What are the top commentary lines? And this is an underrated one. I remember when I think it was against the Cows, maybe it was against Cows, and they kicked the ball into the end goal, and Garrett caught it, and then Manly went the whole field. It was Vossi
That was one of the great
commentating.
tries.
Vossi commentating. That was elite commentary, and it doesn't get enough recognition because it was elite.
There was, that,
NBA, it's always been Mike Breen with the bang.
Yeah, NBA might.
there was that good one from, what was it? Who was comment? Anyway, it was Souths versus...
Oh, and you can take me now.
Yeah.
I've seen it all.
Yeah, that's a
great one.
Great
That's
one.
great.
When Reynolds
that's a great
scored?
one.
Yeah.
You can take. Yeah, that's a great
Beat
one.
him with pace, real pace. That was pretty elite from Tubby.
Tubby. Yeah, that was a good one. Well, there's so many iconic ones. Like Howie's build a man of stature. I reckon that's going to go down to the youngsters this one of like this generation.
Richie had some great just one-liners.
Got him.
Yeah.
What
just
about-
got him and then
What about Greg Clark? Shout out to all our rugby union fans. The over.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's always out there.
What about Bruce McAvaney? Oh, no, it wasn't Bruce. Who was it? Wouldn't have been Matty. I don't know. Not Matty Hill, but Equine Utopia or whatever.
Yeah,
for
well,
Winks.
Matty Hill's got a good one. Matty Hill's got a very good one with Animo. It's like Animo around the corner. Animo around the corner and looks Destiny in the face. And then when he actually won the Cox Play, it's like,
They
this
rehearse that
time
shit.
for the big A. He's got some good ones.
What about Winks' one where he goes sitting there like a department store mannequin? That got me going. Oh.
There's some very good ones. But we'll move on, boys, to the end of the year awards, as that is the theme of the podcast. We haven't even got there yet. So we've done some categories here.
Look, these have been heavily requested in the DMs. I don't think we've gotten one yet, but we'll do them anyway.
No, it's been heavily requested.
Has it?
If someone comments on this saying prove it, I'll send you the DMs.
Anyway, for the first award of the 2023 year, best sporting moment, and there's only 3. And Clancy's put here Lion at Lords after he was injured and continued to bat. Matilda's 2023 World Cup campaign and Australia winning in India the World Cup, obviously.
I was at Lords when Lion came out to bat because what did he do? Tear his calf or his hammy or whatever.
Mhm.
That might be the most enjoyable live cricket I've ever seen. Just hidden hook shots for 6 and bloody, you'd be hard about him.
Showing some grunt. But we put down the winner here, Australia winning in India World Cup. That was the best sporting
Unanimous?
moment.
Yeah, unanimous.
Yeah,
that.
unanimous. Yeah.
Unanimous.
We
Maybe
move.
there's probably some other ones that could have been mentioned. The Matildas was great, but just the fact we won.
Quarterfinal.
Yeah,
we won.
We won. We move. Funniest sporting moment, and we've only put down 3. Stokes dropping the ball at slip, and then
was funny.
throwing it in the air, reviewing it, and then dribbling on himself.
Yeah.
Johnny Bairstow walking out of his crease, obviously, and TPJ retiring, going to boxing, and arguing with All Out in the Insta comments.
I personally think that Stokes dribbling on himself, reviewing a dismissal that isn't capable of being out
The
because he
fact
dropped
he
it.
caught it
Yeah.
and then just flew it up without even actually
Yeah,
catching
that's
it.
And
the
then
winner
dribbled
right
on
there.
himself. Then he dribbled on himself.
That's
Yeah, look.
that's the winner right there.
And we I think me and Clancy are big Stokes haters.
Mm.
So yeah, go
Winner,
fuck
winner,
yourself.
chicken dinner right there. We move to the I'm Him Award. Is awarded to the best individual performance of the year. And of course, recency bias, we have the Maxwell double century over Afghanistan. Nathan Cleary's last 20 minutes of the NRL Grand Final, and without a fight's performance in the Caulfield and Melbourne Cup. What do you think, boys?
What do you think,
I
Clancy?
think the more unlikely performance and the more carried his team on his back performance was Maxwell against Afghanistan.
See, I think it's Cleary. Last 20 minutes of the NRL Grand Final, it was probably the biggest comeback in a Grand Final as well.
I also agree. I reckon that's the best 20 minutes of an NRL player's career, like of any career. That was
I
unbelievable.
think that's catapulted him into top 10, top 5 status ever.
See, the thing is, though, like, what did Maxwell carried the entire team. Cleary got done by Walsh just to score one of their tries to put Ezra Mam
If
away.
Australia lose that, they're still going through.
Yeah, but probably they might verse India in the semi.
It's not a Grand Final.
I just
It
don't
wasn't
think.
the World Cup.
But it was quite literally the best batting performance I've ever seen in my life.
Mm.
So I would
Not
not
to
say.
discuss in the comments. I think
I wouldn't say
this is-
Cleary's performance was the best performance I've ever seen in my life. It was a great 20 minutes, but he got done by Walsh a bit early. Like, he's a gun, don't get me wrong. Just saying, Maxwell literally scored, like, what percentage of our runs? Like,
Well, the
out of
vote's
loss.
2-1, so you can leave.
Yeah,
that.
that's all right.
We move to
Cleary.
the next award, the Worst on Ground Award, and there's some interesting ones here. The Wallabies and Eddie Jones World Cup campaign. Netball Australia not paying their players the appropriate wages for winning the world their thing. And Brad Fittler 2023 Origin Series.
Look, can I add one in there?
You can.
Can I just go Tyrell Sloan's season?
Just lazy.
Just worst on ground every week. So I'll add Big Sloaney into the mix.
And the winner is Eddie Jones and the Wallabies. He takes that one out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fittler a close second.
I'm willing to put
But he's
Fittler
gone.
in my top, possibly worst coach I've ever seen in my life. And I'm talking clubland, local club cricket, local club footy, all that kind of stuff. Eddie Jones biggest traitor, but
He doesn't like that one, according to the guy at Marvel.
who? What?
Remember that guy that was like, Eddie, you're a traitor. And Eddie's like, come
Oh,
here
yeah.
and say it. Come here and say
That guy
it.
was talking facts.
Well, he did quit. He said he wasn't going to quit because he wouldn't leave us in the dirt. Then he quit. That's traitor. If ever I've heard of traitor.
Traitor.
Just the
Olivia
fact
Rodrigo.
he didn't pick those vets.
Oh, I didn't even really care about that. I just care about doing the right
Yeah.
thing.
Like,
if
he had
you
a-
thought
he
that
had
was
a-
the best
He,
option.
he had a
That's really
vision.
shit.
He had a
Yeah.
vision, and he bailed on the vision, and he had
Yes.
a 5-year contract. Anyway, biggest choke award, and there's a few here: Brisbane Lions, Brisbane Broncos, Brisbane Heat, Brisbane Roar, Brisbane Heat WBBL,
I think that's completely valid. Sorry, Dor, if you're listening.
and the winner is Brisbane Broncos. That was the worst
Broncos.
choke of all time. Is that the worst choke of all time?
In any sport.
in any sport, I reckon in any
Nah,
sport.
nah, it's not the
no,
biggest
no,
choke
the-
of all time. Nowhere
Tom
near.
Brady.
Yeah, that's the Falcons.
Falcons. I think that's.
I think it was the
That's a tough
Falcons.
choke.
Yeah, I always felt like Penrith were in the game.
Golden State being up 3-1
Mate, yeah, but like Brisbane were up.
in NRL.
Brisbane were up how many with like 16 minutes to go? They were up
I
up
was still
18
concerned
points,
for them
16
though.
points.
So was I.
They're so young. Adam Reynolds was clearly a bit injured.
You
I was
can't
very
be
concerned.
losing footy games by.
Oh, it's a choke, but it's not the worst choke ever. It's the biggest choke in Australia this year because I wouldn't have been celebrating. If I was Broncos fan, I'd still be sucking hard.
Yeah,
If I was Dor, I'd be fucking.
I'd be furious.
I've really felt for Dor, and there was some other Broncos fans that didn't seem to care that much.
No, MPH.
It's disrespectful to the
Rupert
the
I
McDonald.
hope they're listening.
Rupert McDonald. Anyway, we move. Eddie Jones Award is awarded to the person who has the most embarrassing L of 2023. And the nominees are Eddie Jones himself, the Wallabies against Wales, and the Indian ODI cricket team in the final. And I will add the pitch, the curators of that final as well.
I do. There was something about when the Wallabies versus Wales, and like we were so shit, and it was so embarrassing that like I actually started laughing. It's but at some stage I started laughing. That was the most disgraceful thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was bad. It was very bad.
Like I was like depressed laughter.
I don't even know. Both like India, it's different because Wallabies weren't even favourites against Wales, were they?
I don't think so.
Nah, but
Like India were
just-
heavy favourites.
yeah, but we like.
But what's
you could
more
put-
embarrassing, them being so successful and then losing, or the Wallabies just being shit?
Just discouraged, just like
I'd say
makes you
not
like
just being shit.
just quiver with disgust.
Mm.
And I love the Wallabies, but
Do you?
fucking hell, yeah, mate.
Heard you,
If we
heard
won,
you only started going for them in the early 2000s.
I've always been a believer that if we, I reckon when we win the World Cup, that'll be me. I'm out. I'm out. Yeah.
Well, we
Leave it
waited
at a
a lot.
high.
Yeah, I'm just.
George
I'm,
Costanza.
yep, I'm just gonna. If we ever win the Rugby World Cup, I'm
You're done.
done.
Anyway, we'll give that award to who, fellas?
Eddie Jones, I think, just for
Yeah.
being a dog.
Eddie Jones. All right, he wins his own award. And the final award here, there's only one nominee. The Nelson. It's a great award. The Nelson Mandela Award for the Spirit of Sport, and that goes to the England cricket team. Congratulations, England.
Well deserved, 100%.
You know what got forgotten about a little bit? That whole ball change thing. That
Yeah,
was
I know.
bullshit.
That was bullshit.
That pissed me off for a long
We
time.
happily blamed him, and they just said, "But the rain saved it, bro.
Actually-
You've changed the ball."
Yeah, we would have won that game with that old ball.
We discussed that in the podcast, and we had that English guy doing the
Yeah.
response to us saying
Yeah.
it was sooks. It was valid.
And why'd they change the ball to a new ball?
Should we add another quick segment? The biggest
Bullshit moment of the year.
biggest eater.
Yeah.
Who ate the most this year?
Like,
Like any suggestions?
well, I'm trying to think of someone who just absolutely ate it.
Just
up this
really
year.
ate
I'm gonna go like Zion Williamson to be up there.
Joshy Schuster.
Joshy Schuster, yeah.
Can't really think of any.
What's that guy's name? What's his name?
Oh, the professional eater.
Yeah,
Just the hot dog. Yeah, he's up
What's
there.
his name? Search his name up.
He's top 2 and he
Apparently,
ate two.
he's like the best ever.
Best eater ever.
What's his name? There'd be some sumo wrestlers in there.
Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut, that's right. He's a legend.
The
of
goat.
sport.
He's big time.
If you consider that a sport, if you consider that a sport,
He's a big time athlete.
he could be the best athlete ever.
yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
dominance.
So it really comes down to whether you consider that a sport. I personally don't, but there's physicality
He
to it.
literally left no crumbs.
Yeah, there's physicality to that.
It could be the best sport ever. Well, that's about it. That's,
yeah. Anyway,
anyway, good stuff, boys. That's rounded out the potty for this week. End of year awards. We might have something different next week. Who knows?
I
But
might talk about squash. Bring Bruno on next week.
yeah,
That's not a bad idea.
it's just a bit of variety.
Oh, there is one thing. I seen Nadal's coming back for the
Yeah, for
it's
the
got
Brizzy.
Brisbane International.
Yeah, he
Spurs
is.
come back.
Yeah, he is.
Nice.
So be ready for that, Australia, if you want to go to that. Not
Make-
Brisbane International, but
All the
whatever
listeners
they're
who are
calling it
waiting
now.
for some tennis content really got their
Yeah,
foot just there.
yeah.
That's when we get Johnny on as well. Johnny, Bruno, and all the other lads. But make sure you pick up your All Out hats at alloutclub.com.au. Limited sales. So make sure you get in there. And we'll
Limited sales in we haven't sold many, or limited sales in there's not many left.
Selling quick.
Yeah.
sell it quick. All righty, we'll leave it there and catch you later.